Well, here we are. Here I am. The journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. So synchronize our watches. Let's get the show on the road. Well, shoutouts to you, the viewer. Alright, we're taking a joint by joint approach. So we're going to start from the small joints and move up the chain to the bigger joints, starting at the fingers, going to the wrists, then the elbows, then the shoulder, and then moving on from there. These circles help lubricate the joints, producing synovial fluid, getting you ready for the larger ranges of motion that you're going to be executing. Make sure when you do these type of shoulder circles, at the top of your wrist, point towards the ceiling. They're not just going everywhere. That way you have a reference point, a fixed point, to ensure that your shoulder is moving within that socket. We do short arm and long arm circles. The long arm helps stretch the pecs. Short arm as well, but the long arm just gives it a different kind of stretch. Slowly improving and increasing the blood flow to each area of the body and executing a proper warm-up. Stretch the chest. Normally people don't give any way to the warm-up, but I do. I'm all about the long-term athletic development. That's what we're aiming for. Now we are trying to resist rotation. So these arm swings. Your body is your vehicle. The sport is the road. If you're not taking care of your vehicle, how can you drive on rugged terrain? Again, we went from the hands to the wrist, to the elbows, to the shoulder girdle. That's how we stretch our hamstrings. The foundation before the foundation. Make sure you include your complex movements in a progressive manner if those are necessary within the thing that you do. Complex movement need to be warmed up in a progressive manner to facilitate all high quality neural efficiency. These particular warm-ups are designed to lubricate all your joints. You gotta make sure your body is right. Now we're rotating in the transverse plane, trying to look behind ourselves with each swing. Let the arms be relaxed. Hands should be slapping your kidneys. That's how relaxed your arms should be. Remember, this is a warm-up. You don't want to be flinging your muscles left and right, tightening yourself up before you even do anything. You're seeing this broken down into steps. You have the bottom part, which was the leg swing. The top part, which is the arm swing. Leg swings in a frontal plane. The arm swings in a transverse plane. And the leg tries to maintain those two forces without losing your center of rotation. Again, another exercise in anti-rotation. This is also a good warm-up if you do things like judo, soccer, football, if you're a punter in particular. Again, concentrate on maintaining your balance. You want to swing your leg up, not behind you, but up. Stop at 90 degrees because that's all your body will allow when it comes to hip abduction. Yeah, this is my difficult leg, so I like to give it a little extra effort, a little extra time when I'm doing this. Focus. Focus. Again, trying not to look down as much as possible. Early, physical activity is what you need as a foundation for motor skill. It's the early physical activity opportunities that drive motor competence when it comes to motor development. Moderately to high skilled children have a tendency to be active. So we need to look at motor skill before physical activity. Now we have neck rotations. Again, continuing on with the joint by joint approach. Move the neck in the cardinal directions, north, south, east, west, up and down, left and right. We also do half moons and full moons to ensure that we hit every range of motion. All those muscles stretched. Facilitate blood flow into that area. Really exaggerating that motion. Take your time. Don't fling your head back and forth. Relax those arms. Relax those shoulders. Building that neck range of motion. In this day and age, a lot of people are stuck in forward head posture syndromes. We want to make sure we can alleviate that. Moving on to shoulder rotation. Again, full range of motion. We have to slow it down to ensure that we are hitting a full range of motion. You should feel, you should hear the glenohumeral joint moving within the labrum. A little crunching, sounds like Rice Krispies moving in your shoulder socket, freeing up that range of motion. There, we clasp the fingers, stretching the wrists and forearms. And some arm pumping. Again, low, medium, up. Going into a stretch. Starting with the torso mobility series. Pillow stretch is a great stretch. You can hit multiple movements while in the pillow stretch. Hitting more deeper muscles. We have the overhead, we have side to side, or the lateral stretch. Stretching the obliques, QL, quadratus lumborum. Rotating internal, external obliques, focusing on distributing the weight evenly on our feet, maintaining the foot tripod on each foot. That's the weight under our big toe, our pinky toe, and our heel. From the rotation, we go into the cross leg toe touch, stretching the IT band. A lot of people have tight IT bands that lead to knee problems, a lot of repetitive overuse syndromes. So we hitting all the parts. Got hamstrings. In each stretch, you must come out these stretches slowly. While in the stretches, you want to breathe slowly. Take your time. The point is not to hold each stretch 10, 20, 30 seconds. You want to be in it 3 to 5 seconds. Take 2 to 3 high quality breaths, then move on to the next position. toe touch, you move on to the knee hug with the back stretch. We're attempting to push our back towards the ceiling. This helps stretch the mid-back, the rhomboids, the mid-traps, even some of the upper traps. As you straighten your leg out, the stretch goes up your back towards the upper trap. Here it is from another angle, showing it where your back's pointing towards the ceiling, and as you slowly stretch your legs out. If you move in and out that slowly, it serves as a nice myofascial release for the mid and lower back. Let your arms hang a little bit, come out of it slowly, as usual. After stretching the posterior chain, we're going to stretch the anterior chain, superficial front line, myofascial tissue along the superficial front line. Going into the chest and shoulder stretch, you want to maintain a chin tuck, but not an aggressive chin tuck, a slight one. So when we go into a neck stretch, the chin tuck allows our neck extensors to relax. Once we relax and release chin tuck, because those muscles get inhibited, which allows a better neck stretch when we look down. Twist, and have your center of gravity swaying left and right. Stretch the obliques, triceps, still including mastoid muscles. Those are the neck muscles. Again, in this generation, there's a lot of forward head posture syndromes. A lot of people stuck in a fixed, flexive, dominated position. We have to extend that body, open that chest, open up your shoulders, extend those hip extensors. Breathe, relax, breathe. Pumps to get the blood going, mobilize the triceps and shoulders. Take a deep breath. Stretching the lower back, the hamstring. We want to make sure that we're bending from the hips and not from the waist. Oh. Turning. Added rotation. Also stretching the neck, the obliques, the hamstrings, the QL muscles. Still attempting to look up. A couple arm pumps. Get the blood flowing. We utilize the cat-cows to increase the spinal mobility. So as you can see, this is not just a warm-up. This is also a flexibility and range of motion increasing session. Mobilizing that spine. If you can, you want to make sure you're pushing your palms into the ground at the base of your fingers, at the base of your thumbs. Those two areas should be pushed into the ground with each hand, which helps stabilize your scapula. Now we're mobilizing the neck after we mobilize the spine. We're looking in all four directions, as well as doing a clockwise and counterclockwise circle, increasing that neck mobility. Freeing up that range of motion that's limited by those forward head posture syndromes. Get off your phone all the time. Go out there and practice. Confidence is built through repetition, but competence is built through rhythm and coordination. We need to develop motor competence. Moving on to the straddle stretch. These arm hangs, if you can relax your upper torso well enough, these help decompress and lengthen your spine, i.e. stretch your spine. These are great exercises for quote unquote getting taller. Here's another angle. You want to be as relaxed as possible. Push your hips back. The weight should be felt in the sensor. Also, remember to maintain your foot tripod. Before moving on to the hamstrings. Again, you don't want to hold these positions forever. You want to get a couple high quality breaths, relax into each position, move on. With each high quality breath, the myofascial release will occur that much more easier. Here's another angle. Straddle stretch with a reach back. Stretching the groin, stretching the lower back. Stretching the hamstrings. We're trying to focus on keeping our back flat, parallel to the ground, while rotating. Again, transverse plane. Try and keep our arms as straight as possible while aiming to look at the ceiling. So we're trying to rotate past 90 degrees while maintaining good form. Our groin is trying to stabilize the upper body. Our hamstrings is trying to stabilize the upper body, while our upper body is trying to rotate on its own without losing form, without losing core stability. There, stretching the shoulder girdle, the lats, the hamstrings, the calves, the Achilles, the glutes, the hip flexors, the abs, rectus femoris, the quadriceps. We do this complex in a walking-like manner. We go from downward dog to upward dog, inchworm our way up, and repeat the cycle. A nice, easy flow. Nothing extraordinary, but it works great. Try to keep those legs as straight as possible. Keep those arms as straight as possible. From your wrist to your lower back, that should be a straight line. From looking up, you want to relax and dig your feet into the ground. You're aiming for 3 to 5. This complex alone can be its own warm-up. If you're short on time, keep that in the back of your mind. Giving you some gems here. From the complex, we move into rockers. These quadruped rockers help mobilize the hip, stretch the Achilles, preparing you for the squat motion. As you can see, it's a horizontal squat. You tilt your head to the side and look, while keeping the back straight, while trying to keep the shin straight. Our thighs go 90 degrees, come in and out that motion. Some of us have the flexibility to go a little lower, but that's fine. You also want to make sure that your head is in line with your back. In this particular example, I did not do that, so I got to check myself on that. But you want to keep that in mind. When you're maintaining a neutral spine, it goes from your sacrum to your neck in one line, parallel to the ground. You want to maintain a nice, slow motion to not lose any proper form that you started with. The more range of motion you start off with, the more range of motion you can include in your game. Take a deep breath. From the rockers, we walk into an eagle squat. Starting from a squat to stand, push our elbows into our knees. We squat low as comfortably as we can. Maintain and breathe. Some people call these Buddha squats. From there, we go from a prayer squat or Buddha squat to a bow. We go from an eagle squat to a reach under. Mobilizing the groin, stretching our back. These ballistic movements are often used in the martial arts as a warm-up as well. These can be useful in sport, team sports, even for individual sports involving running or cycling. Make sure you fix yourself before you get into position. Moving from the eagle squat and reach under, we go into the complex now. Where we have the eagle squat, the reach under, and the overhead reverse lunge to stretch the hip flexors. Stretching the groin, stretching the lower back and hamstrings, stretch the hip flexors, lats, and shoulders. Get hip mobility. We're going for ankle mobility. This is another complex that can be used as a warm-up in itself. So we have the inchworm complex and the squat and reach under complex. Those two alone are a great warm-up. Take a deep breath. Moving from the complex, we're aiming to stretch our quads. We're going for a tabletop stretch. We're going into position very slowly so we can maintain our balance, as this is a balance exercise as well. I'm showing you that I'm using alternating hand or opposite hand, opposite foot to maintain my balance. If you try to use same hand, same foot, you're going to find that your balance gets thrown off very easily. But if you use opposite hand, opposite foot, you can maintain your balance. A center point, as you reach out slowly, you want your straight leg to not be locked, but straight enough where you're not cheating and going lower as you lose balance. You want your hamstrings to work on this one, your hamstrings and glutes, while you stretch your quads. Again, push forward slowly, maintain that foot tripod, concentrate. Aiming for 2 to 3 each leg. I like to alternate them. It makes it nice and easy. Once this is memorized, each exercise progresses to the next. It makes it very, very easy to execute because this can be done anywhere. A warm-up should not take as long as this did. But remember, I'm demonstrating, I'm explaining, I'm instructing. I want you to understand what I'm doing, not just see it. From the quads, we stretch the Achilles and the calves. We shift the hamstrings numerous times, so we ain't skipping. So now we're focusing on the calves and ensure we touched upon that range of motion that's so important in everything we do. Working on that dorsiflexion. Your warm-up should be 15 or less. 20 is pushing it. Probably tapping into your energy stores, affecting how you play. Possible. So keep your warm-ups between 10 and 15 minutes at the most. Keep them above 5 at the least. This warm-up should take about half the time. 20 minutes, a bit too long. Here we have the summary of what we worked on during this warm-up. The sum, this may be your actual workout. That's fine. We all have to work on something. Make sure you get a drink at the end of your warm-ups. The whole point is to get better tomorrow. You can't touch your toes. Touch your toes tomorrow. You can't scratch your back. Scratch your back tomorrow. Everything matters. Perhaps the most valuable result of all proper education is the ability to make yourself do the thing that you have to do when it ought to be done, even if you don't want to do it. So these warm-ups are necessary, even if you don't want to do it. But you'll thank yourself later. This is all about long-term athletic development, but it starts with getting better tomorrow. Step your game up. It's not a game out there. Training's not a game. Remember, a lot of y'all think y'all practicing, but all you're really doing is shooting around really hard. Know the difference. Step your game up. I'm not here to hate. Now's the time. The time has arrived. I'm only here to help. It's time to step your game up.